G'day from beautiful and rather chilly Imola. In this video, I'm going to tell you what I saw, the behind the scenes action that you probably don't know about from the 4 days of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. First up, congratulations to Max Verstappen on his win, Sergio Perez for another podium, and Lando Norris for sneaking into third place and acting like a rock star up on stage. But I'm going to take you back to the Thursday and run through day by day what I saw that I don't think you'll realise. For instance, Carlos Sainz came in on that first morning with a whole host of local pastries which he had for his team, and then about an hour after I took this photo it was announced that he'd got his extension to his contract. And good news, my Imola F1 GP photo book is now available. 24 stunning images in this hardcover, hard-page book delivered almost anywhere in the world. And for those of you who are keen on what the drivers wore fashion-wise, I think we had a good smattering. Daniel Ricciardo was wearing this North Face jacket, but this is obviously a collaboration with Gucci, with their logo visible here. You'll also see he's chomping on a toothpick. I also spotted his manager Blake Friend picking up that habit, hopefully not the same toothpick. This was on the Friday. But when Daniel got out of the car on the Thursday, instantly I noticed that we had not Michael Italiano, his trainer, we had Jake Alliker. Now, Jake used to be Max Verstappen's trainer, a hulking man. He's been out of F1 for a couple of years now, but he got the call on the Wednesday prior to this race from Daniel saying, Michael has COVID, can you fill in? So he had just over a day to get himself organised to stand in for Michael. Continuing on the fashion front, I liked Fernando Alonso's yellow hoodie. We don't often see Fernando in bright colours, but it stood out, and nice to see him with a smile on his face here. Zhou Guanyu always wears something interesting on a Thursday. He didn't disappoint. He had a Prada jacket on, and underneath he had a Zhou Guanyu hoodie. Oh, and on the subject of Zhou, I noticed he has Mark Hines now acting in his management team. Now, you might remember that Mark was instrumental with Lewis Hamilton, but Lewis changed to Penny Tho. Oh, I'm thinking 2 years ago now, but great to see Mark back in the paddock. Yuki Tsunoda is also an adventurous dresser, and he's wearing a yellow top here from AlphaTauri. And of course, we can't mention fashion and not mention Lewis Hamilton. So what did he wear in the 4 days? These 4 different outfits. And I must admit, I watched very closely on one of the days the ritual that Lewis goes through to get into the paddock. His car drives up very close to the gates. Out gets his security guy, Lloyd. Out gets Angela. She gets all the stuff out of the back seat that they need. Lloyd prepares the path, and I guess it's about 7 metres to the gate. And then on cue, Lewis emerges from the back and walks straight through unhindered. And when he got into the paddock, because as you can see here on this day, he came in with a mask. Once he got into the paddock, he took it off because there was a huge throng of photographers waiting for this one shot. But Lewis took his mask off, held it behind his back, and walked into the Mercedes hospitality suite. And I know we've got a bit of an echo in here, but if I open the window to get rid of the echo, the noise from the street outside is deafening. And what label was Max Verstappen wearing? Well, Max only ever wears Red Bull team kit. In fact, I'm struggling to think of a time when I've seen him in anything but team wear. He is a sponsor's dream. Natalie Pinkham from Sky Sports caught her wearing a full race outfit. I'm not sure why she had it on. Perhaps if you've seen what she was doing, you could leave a comment below. And before I forget, congratulations to Emma Rigby, who won the Charles Leclerc signed picture. She was actually in Imola and chose to pick it up herself. And coming up for the Spanish Grand Prix, I have a signed Carlos Sainz picture. I'll tell you more about that on Instagram over the coming weeks. Are there any Brazilians watching? If so, you'll know this woman, Mariana Becker. Well, she had a skiing accident a little while back and got around the paddock on this 3-wheel device. Local favourite Antonio Giovinazzi was at the track. He was the reserve driver for Ferrari for the weekend. And I must admit, I had a hard time working out it was him. He had to get quite close before I did actually confirm what I suspected. He came in on a 3-wheel scooter too. I did the first on-track session out at Aqua Minerale, and I was so disappointed because I brought my wet weather gear to cover my cameras and actually lost one of the covers on the way there. So I was without that cover for the rest of the weekend, and that's why I had these garbage bags taped around a lens on Sunday. For the afternoon session, I went to Variante Alta, and that's the corner that Charles spun on Sunday in the race. And it's amazing to shoot there because the cars come over the first curb and get 2 or 4 wheels sometimes off the ground. And we can get quite close with a long lens and capture some great images. I I'd like to tell you that I caught Alex Albon's explosion, but that was just a little bit further away from the chicane than I would have liked. But we did see a bit of debris on the track afterwards, flaming debris, and it smelled. And just after this piece of what I gather is brakes ended up on the track, Lando Norris came and ran it over. Antonio Giovinazzi, I mentioned earlier, came in via scooter, and at this particular moment here, he is checking his hair in the mirror. And earlier in the day, Charlotte arrived with his girlfriend Charlotte Sine, and I'd photographed them and put it up, and I think that was probably my most popular post of the weekend. And then Charlotte and her friend came out to the car park to get something, and it was a great opportunity to get a posed photo with nobody around. And you can't really do that in the paddock. Was this a posed photo? No, this was me shooting Yuki Tsunoda on the deck of the Red Bull Energy Station when the team photographer for AlphaTauri came and photobombed the shop. Saturday was a beautiful day weather-wise, and I did notice that Charles Leclerc, after having his watch stolen in the week prior to the race, was once again sporting a new Richard Mille. That's the team sponsor, and if you haven't watched my Watches of F1 video, what are you doing? Go and have a look now. It's up on my YouTube channel. Free to enjoy for everybody. Valtteri arrived with his girlfriend Tiffany Cromwell, and I had to laugh because she was carrying a carton of Oath Gin. Now, Oath Gin is Valtteri's brand. And was that clever marketing? I don't know. Maybe they were just bringing it in to give to the team, but certainly I got shots, and I'm sure every other photographer all the way up the paddock got a shot of the same thing. The first track session, FP2, saw me in pit lane, noticing a few things. For instance, somebody dropped their mobile phone from the top level down into the pits. So this fellow here decided he'd throw it back up to him. Well, unfortunately, the first one failed to get anywhere near those people and ended up on the concrete again. But this effort was much more successful. And here's something I noticed for the first time. Alfa Romeo have the flags of the team and their two drivers on their pit box. Now, I'm 99% sure that no other team does that, and I think it's a nice touch. In the afternoon, we had the sprint race, and that was a great opportunity to get out and close to the cars and drivers on the track. This banner grabbed my attention, and certainly the crowd were giving it the big thumbs up, and I ended up shooting the race from the last and second last corners, where of course you see those iconic homes that actually look from their balconies onto the track. And there's also a hill, I realised for the first time, where I gather people can sit for nothing because it's outside the track, and they get a reasonable view into the last and second last corners. And then it was on to Sunday, race day. I shot the start of the race from this tower, which is accessed by flights of stairs and gives us a view both at the start as the cars come towards us and as they go away. It also gave me the view of Carlos Sainz arriving back into the paddock on the back of a scooter after his coming together with Daniel Ricciardo. But you have to hand it to the local fans because they are passionate. If they don't have a ticket, they'll go to any length they can to get a glimpse, as these people did here, hanging over an advertising hoarding on a wall. Instead of photographing Parc Ferme, I chose to go out the back of the FIA garage and photograph the drivers who didn't make the top three coming out of that garage. And that's where you get to see some sort of emotion. And it was very obvious when Lewis came out that he wasn't happy, because most of the drivers will take their helmets off and walk out straight to the media pen. But Lewis was obviously disappointed, and he just came out with his helmet on, head bowed, walked straight back to the Mercedes hospitality suite, went upstairs to his driver's room, got changed there, and then came back down and did his media, not in his race gear. Oh, and coming up tomorrow, if you're watching this video upon release, is my What the Drivers Drove to the Imola GP. It's a cracker. I think you're going to really like it, and if you haven't set your notifications, do it now, because you want to be one of the first to watch that video coming out tomorrow in real time. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and join as a member for a whole host of freebies. And what was my favourite photo of the week? This one. Two AlphaTauri drivers just having a laugh. For all of my digital images, I invite you to head over to prostarpics.com. They're available for editorial or personal use. You can get F1 photo books, you can get wall art, beautiful wall art sent almost anywhere in the world, and new merchandise from kimellman.com, and for my best pics live from the track. And all during the week, go to Instagram and search @KimEllman and follow me there. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate. Is that too bright? Maybe it needs to go down 2/3. No.